Hello out there, and welcome to the second video that I'm doing here. My name is Jeremy Lesky. People call me JD, and I want to thank everybody out there so far that's been supporting me on doing these video ministries that have been encouraging me to push forward with all of this. I didn't know how people were going to take it right off of the bat, but I've been getting a lot of positive feedback, and thank you very much for everybody out there watching. Again, the reason that I'm doing these videos right here isn't so that I want people to take pity on me or anything like that from what I'm going through. I want to share my life experiences and the trials and tribulations that I've gone through and am going through right now. And I want to share how God works through those times with you so that if you're going through those hard times or you know somebody who's going through those hard times, they'll be able to look at these hopefully and get some word of hope from God. And that's really what I want with all of this stuff. And to tell you the truth, if one person out there gets help from these videos, it's worth all the trials and tribulations I've gone through. And to tell you the truth, doing these videos out here reminds me of who I am, what I'm supposed to be doing, which is spreading the God's word. And it helps me to reflect and really concentrate on things going on in my life and looking verses up in the Bible to help me get through these things. So tonight I want to discuss with you guys about anger and hate. If you watched the first video, you know some of the situation going on currently in my life. I had a good friend, long story short, that put my home in his name because I was going through financial issues and stuff. And basically, he had me thrown in jail, stole my home, everything like that. Pretty darn angry about that. I mean, who wouldn't be? If you had a friend you trusted and they took everything from you, you would feel right off the bat. I understand how God must have felt with Judas. I mean, here's somebody you trust, and they stab you in the back. You open your heart to those people, you open your home, and then somebody destroys that. For you, it might not be your home, it might be something else that somebody took. Somebody that you trusted that took your girlfriend or your dog. Hopefully, not your dog. I love my dog, and I think I'd be a little more upset if somebody took my dog. He's my best friend. How do I deal with this? I mean, honestly, at nighttime I'm sitting there sleeping, and man, when I'm sleeping, I'll wake up and I'll be angry. I will just be like, I can't believe I did this. I'll be angry with the person who did this. I'll be angry with myself for trusting somebody and allowing them to do that to me, and it really eats me up. And that's what happens when we hold anger and we hold resentment towards somebody. It holds into us. It stays in our heart. It starts making us bitter, and it starts destroying us from the inside. One of the things when I was in jail, and he had an order of protection put on me. Again, what I did was I grabbed onto his shirt and I lifted him up, and that was enough to put me in jail. He said some lies, different things like that. That was a very hard thing. I mean, I've been in prison before. I haven't gone to jail in the last 8 years. I've been a model citizen, and really big into the church community and helping people. My whole character was pretty much destroyed here. And I'm sitting there in jail, and I'm reflecting, and I'm going, the old me, the person that I used to be, would have gone, and I was thinking vengeful acts. I'm going, okay, how do I make this man's life miserable? How do I get back at him for hurting me, for destroying me? I mean, this is something that's serious to me. I mean, how can somebody do that to me? I want them to feel the same level of pain that I feel. I want them to understand what they did was so terrible, and I want them to feel my pain. It was eating me up. And I'm praying to God, I need release from this. Because that anger and that resentment was just like a poison in my heart, and it was making my heart hard, and it was just making me want to do things that would cause problems. Now, there's some Bible verses that I looked up on here that go really good from this. I'm online right at the moment. Let's see, this is the openbible.info. There's a whole bunch of different sites out there. You can look up verses. You just type in a situation you're going through, whatever it is. Mine at this moment is anger. So I type that in, and it brings up a whole bunch of verses for you to look at. And really amazing. And right off the bat, it says in Psalms 37:8, this goes with the ESV version. Again, I'm not a big King James Version person because of these and thous, but Psalms 37:8 says, refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself, it tends only to evil. You know, I'm looking and I'm going, just with this verse right off the bat, and there are tons of them. They're just lined up, and I could go all day with these things. Please, if you're dealing with something like this, take the time to look up these verses and let them speak to you. When I was thinking about these things, and I'm thinking about the destruction and the things I could do to get even with this man. In here it says, fret not yourself, it tends only to evil. If I would have go back and do something, let's say I go back and beat him up or something like that. Again, I don't condone violence. I myself, I just don't condone it. There are times where you have to defend yourself, but that's a whole different thing, and we don't want to get into that right now. If I would have done something in him, like beat him up or do something, anything to hurt him, it would have come back on me. It would have hurt him. It would have hurt my character even more with people in the community. I would have been up back in prison, and then I couldn't do ministry out here with anybody. I couldn't move forward with my life, so it hurt me. So the only thing that came out of all of this was evil. It hurt him. It hurt the people in the community that trusted in me, and it hurt me. So there's no win-win right there. So you have to ask yourself, and I'm sitting there going, God, how do I go about this the right way? What am I supposed to do? I mean, I'm angry in my heart. How do I release this? You know, the Bible talks about that numerous times, and there's one thing that I want to share with you. This is a good one about forgiveness. God talks about how we're supposed to forgive one another. Now, Lord, you're asking me for some impossible tasks here. But what good is holding on to this anger and hatred? What is it gaining me? It keeps me up at night. It makes me upset. I pace back and forth. And all I can think is evil thoughts at that point with that anger and hatred. It's that poison festering up in me. I have to forgive. I have to move on. And I have to sit there and go, what is going on in that man's heart that would allow him to do what he did? And I have to sit there and say, not only do I forgive this man, but I got to pray that this man draws closer to God. See, God is the creator of all the universe. We've talked about this before. He knows how to do things better than we do. It talks numerous times in the Bible about praying for your enemies. And I didn't understand that before. You want me to pray for my enemies? The heck? It's not sitting here praying that they will succeed in what they're doing. It's saying I pray that their hearts are changed. Let's take an instance with ISIS at the moment. You know, we got ISIS that's out there. It's atrocious. They're cutting off people's heads. They're doing these other things. And God wants me to pray for them? Yeah, He wants me to pray for them. He wants me to pray that their hearts change, that they truly seek God, that one day they wake up and they go, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This isn't love. This isn't what God really wants from me in this life. The story of Paul. Paul was a man who had done atrocious things, and he's one of the founders in the church. Paul was a man that hunted down Christians. He was the best that he was at it, man. He was good at doing that. And God said, why are you persecuting me? And he woke up and God saw, or Paul saw the light, and he said, oh my gosh, what have I done? He called himself the worst sinner. We need to pray for those people that hurt us. We need to pray for those people that are destroying. We need to forgive them, pray for them, that God will work in their life, and God will work in their life. Right here is another thing that I want you to look at. This story has always been a big thing that's been on my heart, and I talk to people all the time, and I try to keep this on the forefront of my heart when I think about different things, wrongs that people do to me, or how I treat people, and etc. In Matthew 18, this is 21 through 35, it's called the parable of the unforgiving debtor. Oh, great, now we got the heat kicking on. I hope it doesn't drown me out. Peter was a disciple that was hanging out with Jesus. Now, Peter was a rough man. He was a sailor. When I picture him a man that is just really rough around the edges. And I love Peter because he reminds me a lot of myself with a lot of things. But You know, Peter asked Jesus, he says, Lord, how often should I forget somebody who sins against me? 7 times? Jesus says, no, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. What Jesus was saying is always forgive. See, it's not just for that person, but it's also for us. When we hold on to that resentment, it's destroying us. When we forgive, we're letting that go. Does that mean we forget about it? No, unfortunately, we forget and we hold on things in our heart. The awesome thing about the follow-up with this story, and the gist of this, is there was a king who forgave somebody who had a lot of debts to the king. He was going to take everything, and the guy says, please be patient with me and I'll pay it all. And the man was filled with pity for him, and he released him and forgave his debt. But when the man left, he went to the other people that owed him money, and he said, give me my money now, and he demanded for it. And they were asking for patience, and they were asking for mercy. And he said, no, I'm putting you in prison until this is paid off. Which I don't know how you can actually pay it off when you're in prison. When I was in prison, they gave us state pay, which was terrible. It was like a few dollars a month, like $12 a month. So if I owed somebody $100,000, I'd be locked up for a long time. That's crazy. When some of the people saw what he was doing, they told the king, hey, this guy that you forgave sat there and didn't forgive these other people. Well, the king called that person back and he says, you know what? I forgave you and you didn't forgive these other people, so I'm taking everything away from you. Jesus forgave us for everything we've done. All the sins, all the evil we've done in our lives. I've done a lot of bad things. I know that people that are watching this have done a lot of bad things, and Jesus forgave us for each one of those things. Who are we to sit there and not forgive somebody else who's done something to us? Now, it's not easy. It's hard. But you know, God says in order to draw closer to Him, we need to love Him first and then love our neighbors like we love ourselves. When we sit there and look at love, it says that love is patient. And this is in 1 Corinthians. It talks about love. I'm in verse 4 right now. And it goes down to, it looks like 7. It says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it does not proud. It is not easily angered. Here we go with the anger thing. It keeps no record of wrongs. No record of wrongs. I don't know how to just let go and give it to God. We got to follow God's example, and we need to approach these things with love. I forgive the man that did this to me, and I'm praying for him. I still wake up with that anger in my heart, and I'm wrestling with that. I'm working through that, and I'm praying for God to take this off of me. I don't want to do evil with evil. I want to move forward and do good. These messages are a good thing that's coming out of an evil act. If we take our time and we don't act aggressively, we really think about what the results of our actions will be if we go after somebody, if my mind just went blank on what we do, but we seek revenge. We seek revenge on somebody. All we're doing is coming at somebody with an evil heart. We're not acting like God would want us to. And all it's going to end up with is bad results. By letting go and giving this to God and forgiving this man for what he's done and praying for him, it gives me the ability to move forward in my life and use this as a message for people like you. People like, anybody who needs it. Jesus, when he died on the cross, before he died, while he was up on that cross, he asked God, forgive these people, for they don't know what they're doing. He asked them to forgive him. Here this man took my home. I'm angry, and I have this resentment in my heart. Here's Jesus. He was beaten. He was persecuted. He didn't do anything but spread the word of love, and God didn't do anything wrong. And these men sacrificed him, hung him on a cross, and tortured him. And instead of being angry and saying, God, smite these people, strike them down, he says, God, forgive them. Wow. I don't know if I could do that, honestly. I wish I could sit here and tell you, oh no, I'm perfect with these things and I would easily forgive. Man, that'd be so hard. But Jesus gave us an example to follow. He said to love and don't be angry. Pray for people and let God do what he's going to do. So making this video and doing the research, I mean, there is just tons and tons in this Bible. Again, I encourage you to look up everything in the Bible talking about anger and hatred and what it does to you. I mean, physically, it really destroys you. I've seen people that have been so angry. You ever run across those people that are just so angry, they got that permanent look glued on their face wherever they go? And that's them smiling. God, forgive me if I offend anybody on that, but you know, it can destroy you. And I don't want this to destroy me. I want to use this to move forward. And I pray right now that if you have somebody in your life that you are just so angry with, that you take the time right now and you just sit there and pray to God, God, just help me to heal from this. And I want you to pray for that person. Pray that that person has a blessed life, that they feel and understand love, and that they draw close to Jesus. And I pray that this helps anybody out there right now that's struggling through these things. I tell you what, doing this right now is helping me out tremendously. And again, I love you guys. And together we can do this. We can do this together. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. And I will talk with you guys later.